Monkey D. Luffy's speed has always been a hotly debated topic, for some reason. Is he able to move at light speed, or is he just hypersonic? If that has ever made you wonder, then rest easy, because today we will settle that debate once and for all as we use real math and science to calculate the speed of Monkey D. Luffy. Hello Internet, Jojo here, and welcome to Ideashock. To start this off, I just have to say, we know for a fact that Luffy is intended to be near light speed. That is canonical. Recall when, after the time skip, a pacifista fires a laser at him and he dodges it. After he dodges the laser, what does he say? Well, that is a direct parallel to what Kizaru said to him at Marineford. This is such powerful evidence, and I've seen no one mention it anywhere. So yes, saying that Luffy can move at light speed or greater is not only supported by the manga, but implied by it. So with that narrative argument out of the way, let's get to actually calculating Luffy's speed. In this video, I'm going to give several different calculations so that you guys can judge for yourself. The first method we're going to use is take his fastest shown speed and then apply the multipliers from his gears to it. As we already calculated in this video, Luffy's greatest movement speed was when he went up against the pirate Silver Fox Foxy. We calculated that for Luffy to dodge this photon beam, he would need to be moving at about 830 million miles per hour, or about 1.23 times the speed of light, and that is what we will be using as his base speed. Now, Gear Second is implied to give him a speed and power increase of about 5 times based on the CP9 agent's power levels. But we can get more specific, as this times 5 increase was only if you forget that Lucci activated his Devil Fruit in order to make himself faster. Now this Devil Fruit does exactly what it sounds like it should do. It gives Lucci the ability to transform into a leopard and thus massively increasing his speed. The average leopard can run at about 36 miles per hour, which is about 62% faster than the speed requirements for a human male to qualify for the Olympic 100-meter sprint. Applying this to Lucci, who is a super spy, and we find that when using his Devil Fruit, Lucci should be about 8.1 times faster than Bluno. Multiplying Luffy's base speed by that, and Gear Second must make him able to move at about 6,730,095,600 miles per hour, or 10 times the speed of light. Gear 4th Boundman is much simpler, because when Luffy hits Doflamingo, Doflamingo says that he's about 3 times stronger. Now, Gear 3rd should make him much faster than that, because we know that once activating it, he could move faster than Dofi could see, and Doflamingo was able to match Gear 2nd. So a speed increase of only 3 times would not make up a gap so massive. But that's for a bit later. Multiplying Luffy's speed by 3, and we find that Boundman should be able to move at about 20.19 billion miles per hour, or 30.1 times the speed of light. Lastly, we have Snake Man. And the problem with this is the fact that Snake Man is never given an increased value. However, I've always thought of Snake Man as a high tier Gear Second. But I don't think that Snake Man stacks on top of Boundman. So what we end up with is multiplying Gear Second's speed of 10 times the speed of light by 8.1 to get a result of 81.289 times the speed of light. Now, this is just if you take his best speed and multiply it by his gears. This is also excluding the events of 3D2Y. Near the start of his training on Ruskaina, Boa Sanderzonia and Boa Marigold were kidnapped by their pirate Burndy World. When Luffy went to rescue them, he went up against World only to find that he was outclassed by World's base speed. But in their final fight, World used his Devil Fruit to increase the speed by 100-fold, and Luffy is not only able to keep up with him, but is actually faster than him. I should mention that this is not just the name of World's ability. This is a direct response to Luffy going Gear Second, and who ever heard of a Devil Fruit that does not do what the name implied? World's fruit is called the More Fruit, meaning that he can add more to whatever he wants, including his speed. Also, Eiichiro Oda personally made World and his Devil Fruit for the movie, so he basically designed a 100 times power up for Luffy. If we include this 100 times multiplier, then Gear Second Luffy should come to have a speed of 636 billion miles per hour, or over 1003 times the speed of light, and Snake Man would end up being 8,128.9 times the speed of light. This is not accounting for the fact that Bluno was capable of moving faster than Luffy could see, and Luffy could already react to light attacks. During their first encounter, despite what the anime shows, Blueno was a minimum of 10.17 meters in front of Luffy and moved behind him faster than Luffy could see. To find how fast Blueno moved, we need to apply that distance to Luffy's greatest reaction time in the series before this happened. As we discussed in this video, one time that Luffy dodged Fox's beams, he was so close that Luffy would have had to have reacted in about 1.2579 nanoseconds. So applying this to the distance that Blueno moved, and Blueno would need to move at a speed of 18 billion miles per hour or 26.96 times the speed of light. Then during their second encounter, Luffy was capable of matching this speed before he activated Gear Second, making his base speed at this time equal to Blueno's. When Luffy did start using Gear Second, he was capable of competing with Rob Lucci, and as we already discussed, Lucci should max out at about 8.1 times the speed of Blueno. So this means that at this point in the story, Gear Second allows Luffy to reach a low-end speed of 146.491 billion miles per hour or 218.44 times the speed of light. While moving at this speed, Lucci is capable of moving at sharp 90-degree angles. Looking at Lucci's path of travel in this panel, we find that for him to do this, he must be capable of reacting and changing direction in as little as 26.1237 picoseconds. Remember that, it'll be important later. With that covered, there's really nothing else to talk about pre-time skip. But if we include the events of 3D2Y, this speed spikes. Multiplying Luffy's Gear Second speed by 100, and we get a result of 14.649 trillion miles per hour, or 21,844 times the speed of light. Scaling this down, and base Luffy is around 1.808 trillion miles per hour, or 2,696 times the speed of light. Now, we need to find Luffy's best reaction time from this fight, and that is when they both unleashed a barrage of attacks to finish the other one off. Once they did this, World found himself losing, so he decided to charge at Luffy at full speed, and that is when Luffy unleashed his first Red Hawk. Luffy throws his arm back when World is about 1.58 meters away, and snaps it back when World is about 0.93 meters away, meaning that all this had to have happened in the time that it takes for World to cover 65.3 centimeters at top speed. World would cover this distance in only 99.7 femtoseconds. This is even more impressive for Luffy because this attack takes 14 seconds of real time, meaning that to Luffy, every second is the equivalent of 7.122 femtoseconds. Scaling Luffy to the average human reaction time of 0.25 of a second, we can find that Luffy should be able to react in about 1.78 femtoseconds. That is a point followed by 15 zeros and then a 1. That is a million times smaller than a nanosecond. Now that we have Luffy's reaction time, we can really just skip to Katakuri. In the first part of their fight, Katakuri is specifically shown to be able to move faster than Luffy can see. In this panel, we find that the distance that Katakuri moved is about 26 meters. For him to cover this distance faster than Luffy could react in, he must be moving at about 583 trillion miles per hour, or 869,772 times the speed of light. This is also using Luffy's reaction time, not his faster than sight time, which could make Katakuri several hundreds or possibly thousands of times faster. Now we know that by the end of the fight, Snake Man's speed is comparable to Katakuri, so Luffy should be able to move at this speed as well. Even if you take World out of the equation, Luffy still comes out to be about 2.224 trillion miles per hour, or about 3,318 times faster than the speed of light. For those of you who think I'm being ridiculous, just remember that if we included Boundman moving faster than Doflamingo could see, this result would end up being somewhere around 220 million times faster than the speed of light. For this last calculation, we're going to completely forget about all light speed feats and only apply Luffy's faster than sight speed to prove that he is faster than light any way you look at it. First up is when Luffy fought Captain Kuro. Kuro was able to move about 20 meters faster than the eye can see. This means that he must have been able to move at a speed of about 10,000 miles per hour, or Mach 13. Now at first, Luffy can't see Kuro move, but is soon able to grab Kuro's arm and land a hit. Considering that Luffy's arm is about 60 centimeters long, we find that for Luffy to grab Kuro before he escaped Luffy's range, Luffy must have been able to react in about 135 microseconds. For the record, that is barely faster than Nami's reaction time when she was reacting to the lightning bolt. Taking this time and applying it to when Blueno moved faster than he could see, and Bluno ends up moving at about 168,000 miles per hour. Because Luffy can match him in their second fight, this must also be Luffy's base speed. Now, multiplying that by the power multiplier we found for Gear Second, 8.1, and Luffy should be able to move at about 1.34 million miles per hour, or Mach 1,777. Using the same thing we did before to find Lucci's reaction time, and they both should be able to react in about 2.8 microseconds. Now we get to post time skip when Luffy fought Doflamingo. Doflamingo was able to keep up with Gear Second. In fact, he was able to catch Luffy's Gear Second jet stamp. The distance between Luffy's foot and Doflamingo's face in this image is only 31 centimeters. This means that Doflamingo must be able to react in about 523 nanoseconds. However, Gear 4th is able to move too fast for him to see. The distance between them in this panel is almost exactly 500 meters. So, just for Luffy to move too fast for him to react, Gear 4th would need to be moving at 2.139 billion miles per hour, or 3 times the speed of light. However, that's just movement. Soon after, Doflamingo is shown to be able to dodge a punch from Gear 4th. Now, if this was any other series, this would make no sense. But because this is One Piece, they have Haki, and so the fighter can become exponentially stronger in the middle of their fight. For Doflamingo to be able to dodge an attack like this, he would need to be able to react in about 4.34111 nanoseconds. By the end of Dressrosa, because Luffy beat Doflamingo, he should be able to match this reaction time, if not be far faster. Taking this time and applying it to when Luffy fought Katakuri, and Katakuri can move at about 13.397 billion miles per hour, or 19 times the speed of light. And this is completely ignoring the absurd amount of light speed feats that Luffy and other characters have done throughout the series. Now, of course, this calculation is not including World, and any benefits that Luffy got from him. So, if we apply Luffy's Gear Second speed of 1.365 million miles per hour to World, accounting for his 100-fold increase, and we find that by the end of the movie, Luffy should be capable of moving about 136.5 million miles per hour. This means that we are far beyond hypersonic and well into relativistic speeds. Now, using the same method of calculating that we did when we found Luffy's reaction time from this feat before, and post-time skip Luffy should be capable of reacting in 10.7 nanoseconds. This is still slower than the vast majority of his reaction feats that we calculated before. Taking this speed and applying it to Luffy's jet stamp and Doflamingo reacting to it at point blank range, we end up with Doflamingo reacting in about 5 nanoseconds. Taking this reaction time and applying it to when Boundman moved faster than Doflamingo could see, and Luffy must have been able to reach a max speed of 213.913 billion miles per hour, or 318 times the speed of light. Applying this to Doflamingo reacting to the punch, and his Haki enhanced reaction time should be around 3.24 picoseconds. Lastly, we move to Katakuri. For Katakuri to cover 26 meters in 3.24 picoseconds, he must have been moving at about 17.9 trillion miles per hour, or 26,753 times the speed of light. So, because Snake Man should be able to match him, we can conclude that, basically, any way you slice it, Luffy is faster than light. Here's a chart of all the speed options, including and not including World. Pick your poison. Personally, I'm not a fan of the calculations that are hundreds of thousands of times faster than light, and if I had to make a decision, I would go with option 1 and include World. This is because I feel like this has the least amount of room for error. After all, it only required me to do one calculation, Luffy's fastest pre-time skip speed, and then just using the gear multipliers onto it. Now, I would include World here because not only did Oda himself design him with this devil fruit, but this calculation ends up being within a percentage point or two of some of the other speed calculations. It just feels like a good middle ground based off a low error calculation. Of course, if you don't think that Foxy's photons are light speed, or that the pacifist's laser is a laser, then feel free to go with the calculation where I only use faster than eyesight feats. If you're one of those people who is like, oh, it was a movie, it doesn't count, I would like to point out that some characters' best feats come from movies. Naruto surviving the moonbeams cut in half, that was a movie. All Might punching this giant cube, that was a movie. And the first ever Red Hawk was in 3D2Y. So, if you're insisting that I throw out those feats, then I will be happy to change my choice to calculation 2, not including World, because you guys want to throw it out, but including Boundman moving faster than Doflamingo could see, which, if you recall, would bring the result to about 220 million times the speed of light. So basically, don't play that it's a non-canon movie game with me. Of course, feel free to let me know which of these calculations seems to make most sense to you. After all, I only calculate these feats. No matter how you look at it, Luffy is without a doubt faster than light. At the time of writing this, it is very likely that soon Luffy will be revealing a new form, probably something like Tiger Man based on hints throughout the series. Make no mistake, when we get enough information about this form, I will be making another video about this, so don't worry about that. Also, before I end, I really wanted to mention something. It's not a spoiler, I didn't notice it until a recent chapter, but it was in the anime earlier. Luffy can use Gear 2nd and 3rd at the same time. As far as I'm aware, he had not done that until the very start of Wano. That is what I think that Tiger Man, or whatever this new form is going to be. A combination of Boundman's power and Snake Man's speed. If that is the case, then it might not end up making Luffy faster or stronger, but instead giving him the ability to use his full power and speed at the same time. Kind of like a rapid-fire bazooka. That said, guys, thanks for watching, see you next time, remember to stay spectacular, JoJo, out.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming, you've been great, see you soon. Adios!